Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your favorite teacher coming back with another fire video. So today, guys, we are basically focusing on algebra, the basic foundation of mathematics. The reason why I'm doing algebra is because I've realized that in 2 months' time, grade 12, they are writing their prelims. So I think it's paramount important for them to master the basic foundation of mathematics so that they can develop the confidence of answering the exam. So at least if you can get total on question one, then you're good to go. Nonetheless, let me not waste time. Let's start answering. So now we have our question one here. They're saying solve for x, and they've given us 3x squared plus 5x equals to 0. So we can see that there's an equal sign there, right? Since there's an equal sign, which means now we are having an equation, right? So we expect our answers to be x equals to something because this is an equation. But if we didn't have an equal sign, then in that sense, we are just simplifying further, right? So for this question, basically, let me just write it here. So you have your 1.1, right? You have a 3x squared plus 5x equals to 0. How many terms? 1, 2, right? So we have two terms. Sorry, since we have two terms, which means this is a binomial, right? How do you actually solve a binomial? So you factorize by taking out the common factor. Taking out the common factor is part of factorizing again, right? So let's take out the common factor of x. Now here we're left with 3x plus 5 equals to 0, right? And then as from here, we apply the rule which says a times b is equals to 0. Therefore, a is equals to 0 or b is equals to 0. And then this x becomes our a. So we have x equals to 0 or, and then 3x plus 5 becomes our b. So you have your 3x plus 5 equals to 0. And then now we can transpose and then divide everything by 3 because now we're trying to isolate x. Then our final answer, that's negative 5/3. And then we move to 1.1.2. So for 1.1.2, now they gave us 4x squared plus 3x minus 5 equals to 0. We're solving for x again. Answers correct to two decimal places. So as soon as they're saying answers correct to two decimal places, then you must know that you need to apply the quadratic formula, right? But before you apply the quadratic formula, you need to have the value of a, b, and c. So our equation is on standard form, right? So our a is just the coefficient of x squared. So that's 4. B is the coefficient of x, 3, and c is the constant. So a constant, that's negative 5, right? Yeah, and then from here, we can apply, or rather we can use our formula, the quadratic formula. So you have your b squared minus 4ac, or divided by 2a. So the only thing that you do here, you plug in the information. So you'll have your 3 there in place of b. And then 3 squared minus 4, our a, so that's 4. And then c, we have our -5 over 2, and then our a, that's 4. So from here, we can simply say this is -3. Let's take, because we have plus or minus, let's take positive first. So taking our positive first, so now you'll have your 3 squared minus 4 times 4 minus 5 over 2 times 4, right? And then our x would be 0.80. Because of plus or minus, we have two answers. For the second answer, you will have your -3 there. Sorry. Minus square root 3 squared minus 4 times -5, right? Over 2 times 4. And then you will get your answer as -1.55. Perfect. We've answered our question. And then now we can move to 1.1.3. Let's move to 1.1.3. So for 1.1.3, now they gave us, okay, 1.1.3. They gave us x minus 1 all squared minus 9 greater equals to 0. So this is an inequality, right? So the first step here, you can just open two brackets and then use the FOIL method. Yeah? So you open two brackets there, minus 9 greater equals to 0. That's your x minus 1 minus 1. You multiply x and x, that's x squared minus x, and then positive 1 minus 9 greater equals to 0, right? And then now we have our like terms, which is x, negative x and negative x, which will give us minus 2x, and then plus 1 minus 9, that's minus 8, greater or equals to 0. Then as from here, we can open two brackets. Now we are factorizing because we need to actually get critical values. So you have your -4 and your positive 2 there, right? And then now we can say, therefore, our critical values, you have your x equals to 4, your x equals to -2, right? There's many ways to actually answer or solve an inequality equation, but for this situation, I will rather use the parabola. So our number line, that's -2, that's 4, right? Now, draw a parabola. Draw your parabola there. After drawing the parabola, now you go back to your inequality sign. We need to check the inequality sign. So from the number line, this is 0, this is positive, this is negative. So if you move towards your left hand side, then obviously we're approaching what? The negatives. Move towards the right hand side, we're approaching the positives. So if your inequality sign is pointing the right hand side, which means we're looking for positives, because positives are on the right hand side in our number line, right? And then if you are looking, if our inequality sign is pointing left, then we are looking for the negatives. right? So for this situation, we are looking for positives because our inequality sign is pointing right? So where is our parabola? Positive, basically. So our parabola is positive above x-axis. So this is your x above parabola. It's what? It's positive, positive. So with that being said, we can say from here above, it's positive. From here above, positive, right? So how do we write our solutions? So we need to say from -2 towards your left. That's the first solution. So you have your x lesser or equals to -2, because that's where we get our first positive. And then our second positive, this is our second positive, from 4 to the right-hand side. Our parabola is positive. So for our second solution, we can say, or our x is greater or equals to 4. So these are your solutions when using the parabola. I believe that everyone understood that part as well. Now let's move to 1.1.4. So for 1.1.4, I will write 1.1.4 here. 1.1.4. Let me create some space. So for 1.1.4, they've given us 5 to the power 2x minus 5 to the power x equals to 0. Now, let's go back to our foundation, laws of exponents. So this is made up of x. Okay, let me not jump any step. It's made up of x plus x, right? Minus 5x equals to 0. Now, we can use this law. A to the power x, a to the power y equals to ax plus y. Meaning now, when you multiply the same basis, you add the exponents, right? But we can always move from this to this part by separating the exponents. So we need to apply the similar law here. So this can be written as 5 to the power x multiplied by 5 to the power x minus 5 to the power x equals to 0. Now, we're looking for the common factor here, right? We're looking for the common factor. So we need to take our 5 to the power x. Now we're left with 5 to the power x minus, but here we're left with 1, right? Equals to 0. And then now we can say, therefore, 5 to the power x is equals to 0, or 5 to the power x equals to 1, right? For this bracket. But there's no solution here. No solution. Let's move to the second one. We have 5 to the power x equals to 1. We can change everything in terms of 5 because we're already having base 5. And then we drop down the exponents. So now your x is equals to 0. Done. And then we move to the last question, which is 1.1.5. 1.1.5. So for 1.1.5, they gave us x over 20 minus x inside the square root. So the first step here, I'd say just cross multiply. Just cross multiply. So x times 1 is just x, and then 1 times root 20 minus x is root 20 minus x, right? Perfect. So now we have a square root now right hand side. So how do we get rid of the square root? You square both sides. Square root for squaring. So you square both sides. Now you have your x squared equals to 20 minus x. And then now we can transpose everything to the left hand side. Now you have your plus x minus 20. The reason why I'm transposing, because we have 3 terms, this is a trinomial, so we need to put it on standard form and then start factorizing. So we factorize by opening 2 brackets and look for factors of 20. When we subtract them, they give us positive 1, right? So you have your 5 and 4 there. And then negative means we'll have different signs within our brackets, and then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. So our bigger number is 5, so that's positive and negative. And we can say, therefore, our x is equals to -5, or our x equals to positive 4, right? And then as from here, you can go back to your calculator and check the solutions, right? Go back to your calculator and try to check the solutions. So when checking the solution, realize that this is not the solution. So the correct solution, we have 4, because it allows us to actually have equal sides. Right hand side to be equals to the left hand side. I believe that this video was of help. So we've come to the end of our session, but I will come with the second part of the video. I'll still post the second part of the video again. Thank you so much. Bye.